Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's Facebook Live AMS call. Today is July 25th, and we have a packed call for you today, including a great classroom segment brought to us from Frank Euphemia. So I just have numbers for you and then a quick update. So to start out, we have week 29 of issue paid IULs. We have Avery P with 1,766, Bradley A with 4,671, Brigitte G with 258, Chris K with 320, David E with 714, Donna S with 10,882, Dominic W with 1,587, Edford B with 714, Kimberly C with 1,436, Lisa M with 1,777, Lewis M with 860, and Stephen K with 1,139, bringing our IUL weekly total to 26,124. Next up, we have issue paid annuities from July 11th to July 17th. We have Daniel W., Janice S., and John G. with a split here for $250,000. Matthew S. with $233,898. Matthew T. with $220,121. Jerry C. with $200,026. Michael A. with $184,783. David A. with $145,020. Addison S. with $140,229. Jonathan W. with $117,176. Raymond D. with $116,846, Lisa H. with $114,061, James S. with $100,000, David P. with $93,808, Gabriel R. with $87,870, Alan C. with $87,314, Matthew S. with $84,079, Michael B. with $80,834, Gregory B. with $75,398, Danielle B. with $59,082, Jerry C. with $50,000, Josh L. with $49,021, Malachi M. with $44,423, Greg M. with $38,853, Quinn H. with $35,101, Lisa A. with $31,777, Marcy L. with $30,000, Christy with $27,583, Jeffrey E. with $25,699, Edford B. with $25,251, Brad R. with $22,642, Matthew S. with $17,997, Samantha D. with $10,000, and Addison Smith with $10,000. That brings our weekly total to $2.8 million for the week. And the thing I love about this leaderboard this week, you guys, is our highest issue paid annuity was only $250,000. So that almost $3 million issue paid wasn't even inflated with $500,000 or a couple $500,000 annuities. So just great work to you all. I'm super excited to see this growing and this many people issuing annuities. I just have one quick update for you guys today. This is to do with Athene's new suitability guidelines. This is very important, so please listen up. Managers, if you're on the call and your agents aren't, make sure that you communicate this with them. They have now, they were taking too much time reviewing suitability. As you guys all know, there was a major lag, and a lot of that was caused to issues on suitability forms. So when they would run into an issue, they would email the agent and ask for corrections or clarification and so forth to try to get that suitability page and numbers to work out to make sure all answers were answered correctly. Well, now, instead of taking the time to allow you to correct it in front, they are trusting that you're filling out the suitability form right the first time with accurate information. And instead of asking you to verify, they're simply going to take what you have now submitted and either approve it or decline it. So what does that mean for you guys? That means the annuity is declined if you make a suitability error, okay? They're not asking you to correct if the net worth is too low or they don't make enough money. Something as simple as recently we saw on a Performance Elite 15 application, the question where it says, how long do you intend to keep this annuity? And it gives you some time frames. The client had marked 6 to 10 years. Well, on a 15-year annuity, 6 to 10 years is not, doesn't even cover the annuity surrender period. So obviously they're not going to want to give the client a contract that doesn't intend to keep it for the whole 15 years. Super simple question, probably just a simple mistake when filling out the application. Instead of asking for clarification on that like they would do in the past, they simply declined the application, okay? And so when you get a decline, you might not know what to do with that, or maybe you think that's the final answer. So this is two-part here. What to do if you get a decline, please send it to us and let us review unless the answer is clear to you. They will still consider declines, but what it does is cause a further review process that's going to slow down the process immensely, probably cause frustration for your client who is getting antsy that the transfer is not happening and the annuity is not being approved fast enough. So it will slow down the suitability process, because once a decline happens, in order to get that out of decline and back into review, it's a whole process that takes much longer than the initial process, okay? Second thing you can do is please review your applications before submitting. And managers, that's why I'm asking you, if you're on this call, please be communicating this with your agents. We can usually catch those simple mistakes that would keep you from getting a decline, okay? So please stress to your agents to have someone, an admin, their upline, their manager, us here at corporate, have someone review your applications prior to submitting so that we can help you avoid those declines. If you do get a decline though, please let me know how we can help. As always, email annuity@familyfirstlife.com. We're happy to look over any of those scenarios, but it does slow down the process and cause some lag in that process. So if you have any questions, email us as always. Enjoy the call this week, and we'll see you next time.
All right, guys, welcome to the AMS, the Advanced Market Sales Training. My name is Frank Euphemia, Family First Life National, and I've been asked to share a few minutes with you guys about what I would advise newer agents to do to write their first annuities or start writing annuities. And it's honestly a great question, because you know, when I've been selling insurance probably for about 3 years before I wrote my first annuity, and the reason I didn't ever write them, is I thought they were really complicated and I was kind of intimidated by the whole situation. That would be the first reason. And the second reason was I thought where I ran business, because it was a lower income area, those folks didn't have any savings or didn't have a 401k or an IRA or a TSP. So I remember talking to Matt Smith one day. He's like, dude, you gonna start writing annuities? I'm like, nah, I run in Baltimore, they don't have any money. He goes, hey, you keep telling yourself that, or why don't you just ask the question and see what happens? And I started, and it's been great ever since. I mean, I every single week that I write business, I run mortgage protection, final expense, Facebook leads, internet leads. I find money every single week, which gives you the potential to possibly write an annuity and get paid a pretty good chunk of change. So as a new agent, okay, the most important things you need to understand about annuities, they're not that complicated. So get out of your own way and just understand that the annuity is put it to you this way, okay? And this is my sales pitch when I go into a home, but I'm gonna pitch you so that you can understand how easy it is to present an annuity to somebody. So I'll go, you know, Anna, you know the market can do three things, right? It can go up, it can go down, or it can stay the same. Anna, if you were building a retirement plan and you could eliminate one of these options, which would it be? Anna's gonna go, I wanna get rid of it going down. I go, okay, perfect. You're gonna buy an indexed annuity. I don't even have to sell you. And people go, that's really it? And I go, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, this is my whole sales pitch in a nutshell. And I'm gonna draw a couple other things and kind of explain to you how I explain it. But if this is the option that you want, then an indexed annuity is for you. And most people don't want the risk anymore. They're tired of it. Most people are also tired of the fees that are associated with people managing their money. So as a new agent, you have to ask the golden question every single appointment, meaning what do you have that acts like life insurance? Or do you have anything that could act like life insurance if you were to pass away next week? And they might go, well, what do you mean by that? I mean, do you have any type of assets that your family would get access to in the event you pass away, like a 401k, an IRA, a TSP, a 403b, any of those things? And then you just let them answer. And let's say 30% of the people you sit with go, yeah, I do. Okay, awesome. What is it in? Oh, it's in a 401k. Okay, awesome. Write it down in your financial inventory sheet. Make note of it in your head and move on in your appointment with whatever you're selling, whether it's mortgage protection or whether it's final expense. And towards the end of that appointment, you remember that they told you they had a 401k and they told you they had 200 grand in there. And you're gonna go, Anna, in the beginning of the appointment, when I was asking you all those questions, you had mentioned that you had a 401k. You mentioned you had a couple $100,000 in there. Let me ask you a question. If I could show you a plan that eliminates the downside of the market, but gives you all the upside of the market, would that be something you'd be interested in? And I'm gonna say it again. Anna, if I could show you a plan that gives you access to all the gains when the market's doing well, but eliminates all downside risk, would that be something you'd be interested in learning more about? It's very non-threatening. I'm not going, would that be something you'd be interested in buying? Or, hey, I'm gonna sell you something that can do it. No, would you be interested in learning more about this? Most people like to learn. She'll go, yeah. And here's the thing, if she goes no, I go, okay, great, have a nice day. Appreciate it, here's my card, your policy will be in the mail in 2 weeks. But if she says yes, I go, awesome. Okay, so it's Tuesday at 4:30, we're meeting each other. I'm gonna be back out here on Thursday. Does 4:30 work for you as well, the same time on Thursday? She's gonna say yes or no, whatever it is, I'm getting back in the home, it's called a BAM-FAM. So once I find the money in the home in the beginning of the appointment, I let it go till the end of the appointment, I bring it back up again, I pique her interest, and then I get as much information from her as I can. So if I'm a brand new agent, and I goes, yep, I have a 401k, I got 200 grand in there. Okay, perfect. When's the last time you got a statement? It's July now, so maybe she got one, she should have got one June, right? You get them quarterly, so she would have got one in June. Did you have your June statement that you got? If she says yes, say, can you grab that? I'm gonna just take a quick snapshot of it so I can send it to my retirement department, and they're gonna put together some information that would be interesting to you. If she has nothing, you go, okay, do you know, what company is it with? Do you know how much you're putting into it on a weekly basis? Do you know if you're paying any fees? Ask her as many questions as you can so that when you get out of that appointment, you go to either ask a specialist or your manager and you go, hey, I found some money, can you help me with this annuity? They're gonna ask you questions. Like, I had someone in my office today going, all right, I found some money, and I'm going, all right, well, they're 60 years old. Do you know when they plan on retiring? I didn't ask them that. Do you know how much they're paying in fees? I didn't ask them that either. Well, they don't know. So I'm telling you, you go, as much information as you can gather from Anna to send to your manager or ask a specialist, the easier it'll be for us to give you the right product to go back out and show them. So it's really as simple as finding the money and then BAM-FAMing, setting an appointment up book a meeting from a meeting, going to ask a specialist or your manager and going, hey, I found this money. The guy's goal is to retire in 5 years. He loves the fact that a plan like this doesn't have any risk. He also doesn't want to pay any fees, or he also wants a lifetime income rider. Whatever the case may be, you just got to ask enough questions to kind of figure out which way we need to go to steer you. And then once you have all that information, you go back in the home and you pitch it, you present it. And again, if it's a lifetime income annuity rider, or if it's just a cash rider or a cash annuity, kind of like the Performance Elite 15, there's different presentations. But at the end of the day, you're going to go, again, Anna, when I was with you earlier, I explained to you, the market can do three things. It can go up, it can go down, or it can stay the same. What I mean by that, Anna, is we're starting right here. If the market goes up, you're going to take advantage of those gains, right? And the market, one goes up, it's going to come down. When that happens, we have a little safety net that pops out, and your money's going to go sideways. And when the market starts to go up again, your money's going to go up. And when it drops, we're going to have a safety net that pops out again. Your money's going to go sideways. So typically, in a plan like this, you're going to have to wait and recover when the market goes down. With this plan, you're locking in your gains. So every time the market dips, boom, immediately your gains are locked in. And when it starts to grow again, you're already way ahead because you never lost anything. Boom, you're going up. And when it dips again, you're locking in your gains. Does that make sense? And she's going to say, yeah. And really, it's not much more complicated than that. The biggest objection I get in an annuity appointment is, this sounds too good to be true. And I can understand that as someone sitting on the other side of the table. I'd look at this and go, how in the world can they do this? Like, why wouldn't everybody do this? And my answer to that is, more and more people every single year are putting themselves in plans like this because they're starting to be more educated. There's more there's more commercials about it, there's more things on TV, there's more things on the radio about educating on index annuities. We're just trying to reach as many people as we can. But Anna, if you're really that nervous about it, here's what I'm gonna tell you. First of all, if this all sounds good to you, right? And whether we went through the Performance Elite 15 or the Ascent bonus with the income rider, whatever product it is, I don't care. Once you're done explaining the product, and I'm not gonna get into that today, you're gonna go, Anna, we need to make sure you qualify for this program. So we're gonna do a suitability check. I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions about your income, about your assets, about your risk tolerance. We're gonna send that information to the company, and my preference is Athene. We're gonna send that information to Athene. They're gonna look at it. If they approve you, they're gonna reach out to your company that's managing your 401k right now, and they're gonna request a transfer, okay? That money is gonna be sent to Athene, and they're gonna send you a contract. Once you receive the contract, you have 30 days to review it. What I would do, Anna, is I would go to an attorney and go, hey, I've got all this stuff that my guy told me is in this contract, whether it's lifetime income, whether it's no caps, whether it's no risk, whether it's no fees. My guy told me if this is, let's just say this is a Performance Elite 15, not plus, just a regular Performance Elite 15. There's no caps in some of the strategies, and the ones that I like to use have no caps. There's no fees, and there's no risk. These are the benefits to this plan, okay? You're gonna take it to your guy, you're gonna go, is there really no caps, no fees, and no risk in this plan? He's gonna tell you yes, and you're gonna be good to go. The other thing you gotta explain to people is the surrender charges, which is easy to explain, but that'll be for another topic. But make sure you ask those questions. And again, make sure you understand what surrender charges is when you're explaining an annuity. You don't wanna go through all the great parts and leave out the only downside to an annuity is the surrender fees, but most of the time it's not even a downside because it's qualified funds. And if you read the article Sean wrote on why qualified funds have built-in surrender charges, that will all make sense to you. But I hope this helps, guys. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, reach out to Ask a Specialist, but there's so many people in this company that know about these plans that can help you. Do not wait to start asking these questions. Ask them now. It will change your business, and it'll change it fast. Thanks a bunch.
Good morning, AMS Live. My name is Brittany Smart out of Las Vegas, Nevada, part of FFL Elite, FFL Financial, FFL USA. And Sean asked me to share with you guys some of my experiences that I have had recently with helping some amazing clients with their retirement funds. Up until this year, actually up until the month of July, I had not closed an annuity. I had a little bit of limited experience last year. I closed a few, one for $500,000 and one for like $50,000. So, this year I have been really focused on just being a sponge and getting better in the home, selling more life insurance, a lot of simplified issue life insurance. Specifically, and I think I was so focused on that part that I was entirely missing the boat on the rest of the pieces. I started implementing that mortgage financial inventory sheet, the one that has the carrier product, the carriers on it, and on the sheet it asks you specifically to ask the client about 401k, IRAs, significant savings accounts, etc. So I started asking about where's the money, and I got a lot of clients, that would give me that information, but after that it really wouldn't go anywhere. Either, they didn't want to get me a statement, or, they didn't want to schedule a second appointment, and I really wasn't capturing the entire piece of their business. Now, we're there to help them with mortgage protection or final expense planning or Medicare supplement, whatever their need is today, but that certainly doesn't mean that we can't ask those questions pique their interest, and then set a second appointment like a BAM fam to go back later and help them out with that. So I was encountering a lot of resistance there, and I was really frustrated, and so I called Sean Ruggiero and I said, hey Sean, here's my problem, or my what I'm encountering. I said, I'm finding the money, but it's not really going anywhere else. And I said, I know it's me, and what can I do? So Sean gave me some really great tips that I implemented immediately. And then in the month of June, I actually took 3 applications for about 600,000 combined. So one for 460, which I'm going to talk to you guys about, one for 90, and then another one for like 62,000. So I got a lot of experience in the last couple months with variable annuities. So I feel like when I'm in the home now, I can kind of sniff them out and I can talk about them with more confidence, because this last deal that I did for 460 is what we rolled over from his existing, or we replaced, I should say, a variable annuity with an FIA. He's 79, so we had to go with Performance Elite 7 Plus. I'm in the state of Nevada, so depending on age and then what product you're putting them in, what their goals are, you want to obviously check with Sean, or Bridget, Athene, whoever, to make sure you're putting them in the correct product, especially due to age. But I make my way into the house and just take off my shoes, and we're standing like in his entryway, the doorway, and he says, yeah, I really don't feel like at my age I don't need life insurance. I've already been there, done that. He's like, yeah, I don't really need it, so thank you for your time today. And I said, okay, I completely understand that. Thank you for being transparent with me. I said, I still have to do my job anyway because you requested the information for mortgage protection, so I'll come back next week and see you, just so we can go over that, and I can check off and have you sign that I did see you, just for liability reasons we have to do that. And I said, just out of curiosity, why is it that you feel that you don't need life insurance? And he said, well, I have some other things in place, and I just don't need it. And I said, okay, other things like what? What else do you have that would offset your mortgage? So he said, oh, I have an annuity, or I think he said something about a retirement fund, and I said something like an annuity, and I know that's a scary word for clients, but he actually said it first. So then I said annuity versus saying FIA, because annuity, that word sometimes scares people, but he said, yeah, it's like an annuity, and I said, oh, okay. I said, perfect. Well, I'll be back next week and we can go over that, and let's go through your whole financial picture. It'll take me about 10 minutes. And especially if I can't help you, then I will be gone even sooner than that. Okay. So I put him on my schedule, grabbed my shoes. We walked out the door, and I saw him that next week when I was in town. Actually, he had 2 accounts. So he grabbed the statements for both of those. And then we sat and we went through them. So I could see the surrender charges, I could see the account values, and I could see how long he was in his current contract. And so I asked, I know from talking to Sean and from getting Jack's assistance a lot, Jack Yu, who I learned a lot about annuities from, you always want to Google if you have time, you can Google the name of the company, the holding company, the type of annuity, etc., and it'll give you that information. So upon doing that, I realized, okay, this is a variable annuity, especially when I see his interest being credited every month. I could see that he's in a variable annuity. I didn't have any experience with that because before I had only rolled just straight retirement funds from a 401k. So, I called Sean when I was in the home, asked him, hey, I'm here with my client and he has a variable annuity, and I know there's got to be some things that we can do better for him because his annuity is subject to lose money being a variable annuity. Isn't that correct? And he said, yeah, absolutely. And then we talked about the fees, and he was paying several $1,000s a year in fees, etc. So he was an excellent candidate to convert from a variable to an FIA and replace that old contract because it just made so much sense. But the kicker on this one is that you would think it'd be a slam dunk, but His family member had actually helped him with that variable annuity 6 years prior to that. And so I'm sure you guys are aware that sometimes if we are up against family members and advisors or someone they really, really trust that put them in that account, it can be difficult for the client to make changes, which is, of course that makes a lot of sense. They've been in something for 6 years and a family member who cares about them and thought that, hey, we're doing the right thing for you, tells them that this is the right thing to do. It's going to be hard for them to maybe grasp why that's not the best thing for them at this juncture in their life. So just to kind of wrap this up, this took 2 months of going back and having conversations with his holding company, his family member who put him in the FIA, who is still a financial, or in the variable annuity, who's still a financial advisor to this day. I had like 2 or 3 conversations with Sean, and the biggest thing the client wanted to make sure is that this was really the right thing for him, and that at this stage in the game, at this point in life, that he was making the right decision, because he didn't know until I walked in his home, until we went through his statements, we called the company. He did not know that this was a variable annuity. So, there was all kinds of things revealed, and, sometimes this has to be a slow transition. And so I really, as much as I wanted to just wrap it up in 1 or 2 sits, it wasn't that easy. And, even still, when we did the paperwork and going back and forth, it was still kind of one of those things where I really didn't think it was going to happen. But then the market fell a little bit, and then he realized that, wow, I could lose a lot of money. I could wake up tomorrow and all my money could be gone if the market just completely tanked. So that was the deal with that. That funded in July. So thank you, Sean, and thank you, Matt Smith and Linda Lampasso. I've studied Linda's videos a lot, just kind of her intro, her opening, and then Matt, I listened to a lot of your stuff. I call them Matt Smith-isms. So sometimes, rolling around in the car from appointment to appointment, I'll turn on FFL Northwest YouTube and listen to Matt Smith stuff, and I'll be in the home, and all of a sudden, I'll spit out some Matt Smith-isms, and I'm like, wow, where did that come from? It was just literally from hearing it earlier and then being in that situation, and your brain just kind of clicks, your mouth opens, and then out it comes, and that stuff works. So, sometimes you can transform into Matt Smith in the house. But anyway, so thank you guys for all the information that you put out, and even all the other leaders. I've learned a ton from Jack. I've learned a lot from Sean Ruggiero. Ruggiero is amazing. One of the things when I was talking to my client, and Ruggiero said something like, hey, a variable annuity is kind of like an old cell phone or like an old flip phone, with modern technology, you got to update those things. And the FIA, the fixed index annuity, is kind of like the new thing, it's the new technology, it's the new iPhone. So now when I'm in the house, I say that kind of thing as well to a client. I actually ran into another variable annuity, this was in the month of June, mid-June or something, and then was able to do the application in the home for about $90K. We did it on the spot that day when I was in the home. I couldn't help her with life insurance. She really just wasn't comfortable with the idea of having life insurance. She really felt like she didn't need it. I was packing up my things, and then, I said, hey, just out of curiosity, because, we had gone kind of back and forth, and I said, just out of curiosity, if you don't need life insurance, and you say that, you have retirement funds, how are you using those retirement funds to work for you? And she said, well, what do you mean? So I explained to her, the difference between like a variable annuity and what she was in now. She had another small account at Fidelity that was just sitting there, not really earning a lot of money. And her old advisor that put her in the variable annuity was in Hawaii, and she now lives in another state, so they never speak. So and again, she's paying more fees, and it's not even being managed. So we were able to sit down and do that application right in the home. It was an agility. We did an agility 10 because the purpose of this we're leaving the retirement funds for her daughters for death benefit. So the agility 10 was a perfect product, and she was super, super happy, and we just got the funds. I just sent like the second check over to Athene, so that should fund next week. So, you know, it's really exciting to see. We have some amazing tools, guys, at our disposal. All of the videos that the leaders put out for us, the VPs, a lot of VPs now have their own YouTube channels, so take advantage of that. Subscribe to all of those. I listened to Mike Killamit and Linda Lampasso's interview. It was like a podcast, and Linda talks about the importance of the financial inventory sheet and just like being really thorough and fluid with your intro, and I could not agree with her more. Just having a really tight introduction so you establish the credibility, and then seamlessly going through all those questions in the financial inventory sheet is just going to like 10x, 100x times your business and propel you forward. So again, don't let annuities be a stumbling block for you or a hindrance. Some people pick it up faster, some it takes a little longer, but if you're not where you want to be, reach out to those people who are having success. Reach out to Sean. Bridget's really amazing, and watch AMS live because I don't miss it. I put it on my calendar and on my schedule. It's really amazing. I hope you guys have a great day, and keep tuning into AMS live. Bye.
Hey everybody, I'm going to discuss with you today, based on what Sean had spoke on last week about using annuities for long-term care alternatives, or even utilizing Americo products or any sort of life insurance with living benefits. Touch on that very slightly, but first off, I'm going to mainly go over a case study that you can use. Global Atlantic is another one of the providers that we write with. They have a great long-term care annuity. It's called the 4Care annuity. They have a brochure that will be attached that you'll be able to download to utilize, with a great case study on it of how to have an alternative for long-term care by utilizing a 4Care annuity. But Athene has some great products too that I personally like a little bit better because of the income factor. But I'm just going to go in some strategies today when you're going through the financial inventory, the right questions to ask, and how to frame it as you transition, because we're obviously meeting with a majority of the people we meet with are from advertisements for mortgage protection or final expense. So they're not expecting you to discuss long-term care. So I want to go over how to transition seamlessly into presenting a long-term care strategy if there's a need for it. So first off, I want to just go over this case study. As you can see here, by utilizing an annuity such as the 4Care annuity or the Agility product that has a income doubler for long-term care, what you're doing is using a asset-based long-term care strategy. So they're not purchasing long-term care insurance, they're utilizing an asset which gives them a dual benefit. So the duality of that is, if they do need long-term care, they have a protection plan for it that's going to give them income. And if they never utilize any, or if they never need any form of long-term care, they also have something that's going to benefit their family and also provide them an income stream. So it's a better alternative than purchasing insurance, because the issue with long-term care insurance, if you never utilize it, or sometimes plans expire, or if they have old long-term care insurance, it's not actually going to be enough to cover the amount of care that they will need, because these costs are increasing. So take a look here at this case study. They have Wade and Clara that self-fund their long-term care needs. And as you can see, and I'm not going to go over stats because Sean covered that a lot last week. So if you want some more stats, look at last week's AMS training call or just Google LTC facts. Anyhow, year one, they need $58,400 for home health aid and homemaker services 4 hours a day each year for 12 months. So in this scenario, as you look at this orange graph here, the orange depiction here, they're talking about self-insuring for long-term care. So this is what their need is going to be from an income standpoint for long-term care. And they're going to utilize $200,000 of savings that they've allocated aside for long-term care. So just year one, only $141,600 remains left after year one. Years 2 and 3, if you take a look here, out of the $200,000 that they allocated for long-term care, regardless of status, and this is a hypothetical if Wade had a stroke, and so Claire would have to care for him, etc. Anyhow, as a result of this, for years 2 and 3, in the third year, they're going to run out of money. So all of their principal is going to be completely exhausted. Simply utilizing the same strategy of self-insuring for long-term care, if they use a 4-care annuity, for example here, year one, they were approved at a preferred rate, so they have $600,000 available for long-term care coverage if needed, just by that $200,000 investment. So year one, $541,600 is left. Years 2 and 3, they spent $141,600. They still have $400,000 left of long-term care coverage. So this is a very simple case study to show people that there's a great way to have an asset-based long-term care strategy. This 4-care product pays a guaranteed minimum contract that is 3% first year, 1% the following year, but it illustrates at 3% annually. So if they never use the long-term care insurance, the great benefit is if one of them dies, they're going to receive more money. And also too, if they decide, you know what, I want to use this product for income and not use it for long-term care, as it accumulates for a period of time, they can take distributions from the account not only to supplement retirement, but at the same token, they will have money left over for long-term care as well. So when I go through a financial inventory, I'm just going to give you the words that I like to use as I'm going through, and it's very key to distinguish that you have to complete the full inventory before you start giving recommendations, because you need to risk profile them, and as you go through it and you ask them the right questions, such as the golden question or health and medical questions, you got to start painting a story and framing a story so they have an understanding that you're using a predictive analysis to forecast and show them in the future that there is a big risk for long-term care. And if they're not aware of it, you're going to show them some alternatives and the most efficient way to plan for long-term care. So what I like to say to people is, once I get through the inventory, I say, if I see a need for long-term care, I will say, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, sorry, I talked super fast. So Mr. and Mrs. Customer, as an individual that has a sincere intent of helping people manage their everyday risk, I see a danger here for long-term care. Has anybody discussed any options for you for long-term care? Do you have long-term care insurance? Do you know anybody that's gone through assisted living and how expensive it can be? Typically they'll say no. Sometimes they say, yes, I have. I am a little bit concerned about that. And that's when you can transition to a story and use an example like Wade and Clara, just to show if they have assets. For example, like if they have equity in their home or they have other assets, those sort of assets, if it's not retirement accounts, let's say it's equity in their home, for example, those are not, equity in home is not exempt from creditors. So if there's legitimate creditors like unpaid, if they have unpaid medical expenses from a heart attack, whatever it may be, their home equity is not safe. So they have to have some sort of strategy to insure against this. And with the facts being so high that 7 out of 10 people will need long-term care, men, 1.5 years is the average state, 2.5 years for women, so it's much more common for women. It's extremely expensive. Over $220,000 is the average cost of long-term care. So not having a plan or some sort of way to protect against that, if they're gonna rely on family or savings, this is a good example to use even if you don't use a Global Atlantic product. Get familiar with this so you can transition as you're going through a financial inventory to use predictive analytics and participatory design with the individual to create a strategy to help them manage that risk. I hope this is helpful. Again, I will have this attached for the AMS, after the AMS call. You can get it from Sean, I think, Annuity at Family First Life. But yeah, he'll have it, so I hope this helps.